Hey guys, Wages World here. It is August 3rd, 2020. Come at you with a video. Guys, I just made a post. I wasn't going to make a video tonight because you can probably hear it in my voice a little bit now. Well, I decided to go ahead and try to make one because there's just a lot of stuff going on. So, I really don't want to wait. But anyway, so with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into it. I got something you guys are going to really want to see. I put together something here. I think it's something that a lot of creators have been talking about here and showing some stuff about it. But I think it's pretty much all the same thing. And there's 4 of us that are seeing it and have reported on it already. But I'm going to pull it together and show it to you. So anyway, with that being said, also I'm going to give you an update too on my cousin and her situation with her dad passing away and how amazing you guys are. Just blows my mind. So before we get into that though, I'm gonna get a little comment here. And this is a correction. He made a correction because Patrick Fitzsimmons. In my previous video, I was telling you guys about that article that was saying the sun affects earthquakes. You know, we went through all that thing, and it actually ended up involving face puke after Scott posted it over there. And just go back and watch my other video if you really want to know the details of that. Plus Scott posted a video on his channel about it too. So I'll leave a link and all that. But he was making a correction here because I said 10 to the 5th. And it should have been 10 to the -5 or 10 to the -5th. -5, I guess. The difference of that is huge. Okay, I'm glad you caught that because I said the wrong thing. I said 10 to the 5th. That's a really, really large number. Okay, 10 to the -5 is a really, really small number. And what that number was referring to is the likelihood of that article, that peer-reviewed article, of it being wrong. So basically, they were saying it's pretty much there's almost a 0 chance that what the information and stuff that had been given there was wrong. So that's just a little clarification on what's going on with that. I just wanted to make that correction because he did the right thing here. You know, guys, you got to tell me if you guys catch that kind of stuff. Tell me, and I'll definitely come out and correct it because I want to get it right. So, thank you, Mr. Patrick Fitzsimmons. And this is the other one, real quick. This is Evolutionary Energy Arts, Mike and Cindy. They're great people. Got a great channel. They're so loving. They report on a lot of different things, but a lot of it's current events and what's going on around the world. But they got their own little unique way of doing it, and it's awesome. Okay, a lot of good information over there, so go check it out. But anyway, they said they're trying to feed us pure disinfo, brother. So obvious. And again, it goes back to the face puke thing and the crap checkers. Those guys, we proved what they were doing. They're trying to get everybody's rating down so they can drop, not promote people's channels, or they're trying to bury it basically. Steering the narrative and all that. And I went through all that in my previous video. But with all that said, guys, go over and check them out. Give them a like, sub up to their channel. I think you guys will be better for it. And I'll leave a link, obviously. So we're going to move on. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a little update on my cousin and her father passing away. And I just got to say, guys, you guys are so amazing. I just can't even. I'm beside myself with what's happened here. And you guys don't realize how big of a difference you've made. What's happening now is she's able to concentrate more on mourning her father, other than the other BS that has to be taken care of when that stuff's going on. She's in her early 20s, and guys, anybody in their early 20s, if they're there now or can remember back then, none of us had any money then. Most of us didn't. We were still just trying to establish ourselves. So for something like this to happen to her and all that burden's falling on her was horrible. I mean, I've never even had to deal with that, and I'm in my mid-40s, and so that's kind of what I'm saying here. And the way that you showed love and everything to somebody you didn't even know, it just amazes me. It touches me in such a way, guys. I mean, it's just awesome. So to give you a little perspective about what happened there, they started this GoFundMe for funeral expenses, and they set the goal at like $1,750. and it was up for a couple days. So I mentioned it on my my last video, and 4 hours after I mentioned it, that GoFundMe went from $400 to over $2,000. She exceeded her goal within 4 hours just from you guys. And I'm not taking nothing away from the other people that donated, that's probably friends and family and stuff. It's just as important to what everybody else has done. But you guys don't even know her. And you guys did that just out of love. And it just amazes me. The compassion and all that, it humbles me in such a way, I just don't even know what to say. So to give you a little update on what's going on, look at this. You guys see that? Almost doubled the goal. And like I said, if you guys go over here to this GoFundMe, you'll see, like, when you guys started donating, because it's all at the same time. It's like 85 of them right in a row. So just know, guys, that you guys have allowed her to mourn her father the right way without having to worry about so much this. Yes, there's still going to be financial stuff she has to deal with. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you guys have at least taken some of that burden off of her. And she can concentrate on what she needs to concentrate on, and that's herself. And getting herself to a position where she don't have to, be in such a sad place. She deserves that just like all of us. And that's the gift that you guys gave her. And you don't even know her. I just can't even say enough, guys. Best subs in the world. I mean, you guys are more, at this point, you're more of a family to me than anything. So I really, 100%, I just don't know what to say. So thank you. Okay, guys, I got you guys over at Space Weather Prediction Center. This is where we look at space weather conditions. And so we are having we're in the middle of a solar wind stream that's actually a very consistently high one, and it's one that we haven't seen in quite a while. It's not like throwing us way into bad issues, because that's not what's going on. It's just it's more lengthy than what we've seen in the past, and it's more consistent. This is what we used to see like last year. We hadn't seen a solar storm like this in a while. For it to last this long. So anyway, you got the solar X-ray flux up here, and why is that all doing that? It's raising because there's more sunspots. We got legitimate sunspots from cycle 25, and that right there, I'm pretty much done talking about solar cycle 24 at this point. If we're not completely into cycle 25, wow, that's all I gotta say, because we are having a lot more activity. And what you're seeing here, when we get sunspots facing the Earth, this solar X-ray flux goes up. And then when they like pop off little flares or big flares, it'll show up right here. You can see the little spikes, okay? Those are little flares popping off around those sunspots. And so that's what's going on with that. And now here's the geomagnetic activity. The reason why this is elevated is because of that solar wind stream. And it came from a coronal hole that was actually sizable. And if you guys remember, I showed it to you, and remember I said it was further to the north than it was close to the equator of the sun. That's that coronal hole that connected to us a few, 3 or 4 days ago, and we're now experiencing that solar wind. Because I was explaining that it doesn't have to be right in front of us for us to connect to it and get that solar wind. It was actually kind of midway between the equator and to the north pole of the sun. And that's the hole that was giving us this energy right here. So you can see how this thing's going up and down a little bit, but it's staying consistently up here. Now, we haven't got into storm level yet. We might. You just don't know. Now, if we get into G1 level storms, it's not really that big of a deal, guys, other than we'll get some pretty good auroras out of it probably. We already are, really. And it will raise the risk for earthquakes. We've got proof of that now. They did that study out what I talked about in the previous video. It's crazy that this is happening right after we talked about that. But yeah, so they said it's like a day after. There's like a day lag up to or whatever, that when we get hit with solar weather, they noticed a pattern that they were seeing an uptick in earthquakes in the intensity and the frequency. And they went over 20 years of data and compared it to all the earthquakes. And that's what they decided that's what their conclusion was. So it most definitely matters. So if we go down here, here's the sun right now, and like I said, guys, we're getting this. Okay, this sunspot was over here. Remember, that's the sunspot. I mean, the coronal hole. I'm sorry. The coronal hole that's the coronal hole that was giving us the energy now. Now, if you look here, there's another coronal hole. Yes, I know it looks like a smiley face. Anyway, you got the equator, and the Earth kind of sits right here. So yes, we're going to get some more solar wind, most likely, an increase in solar wind. But what for me right now is these sunspots. I'm calling them a train of sunspots. They're staying basically at the same latitude, and they keep appearing. Okay, and again, we can't consider them sunspots until they've been around long enough and have the right characteristics, and then they designated a number. But I want you guys to keep in mind, and I've talked about this briefly before, the parallax effect. Okay, when we see this thing coming around the side, they look pretty small, but by the time they get out here in front of us, they're usually either bigger or they've dissipated or whatever. But my point is that something that looks like this over here on the side is actually probably about this size, because anything on the side of a sphere looks smaller when it's on the side. As it rotates to you around it, it's going to appear bigger, but it's really not growing in size. So we have to keep that in mind when we're looking at these things, because even though this looks small, it's probably about that big. So that's what I would say to that. Okay, I got you over at Mr. MBB3's page, and this is go to the Schumann Residence link. And guys, this is quiet right now, guys. Okay, I haven't seen the Schumann look like this in quite a while. If you go back a couple more days, it even looks like that then. There was a little bit of a blackout, and it was missing data for a few hours. And then when it came back online, it had some funky looking signatures, but that was just technical difficulties is all that was. I would highly recommend you guys go over and check out Verte's channel too. Okay, he's the one that's explaining to everybody what we're actually looking at when we're looking at this graph. I most definitely would go over if you wanted to learn about that. And don't think that you can't learn about stuff like that, guys. I know sometimes when you first start this stuff, it does seem pretty intimidating with some of the vocabulary that gets used, because there's no other way to explain it. But trust me, you guys are smart enough to understand what's going on. I know you are. I felt the same way. The advantage we have is we can stop and rewind and keep watching it until we do understand. And he's explaining it in a way that, you know, he's telling you exactly what the graph is trying to show you. So I'll leave a link to his channel again too. But as far as this signature here, guys, everything's quiet. I mean, there's not really much going on. I mean, we had a little bit of something here, but it's not much. So, okay, this is the Geoelectric Field model, guys. I've been showing you guys, especially when we get solar weather. And this is not showing anything that I wouldn't expect during an increase in solar wind. Okay, you're seeing it jumping around there a little bit, maybe getting into the greens a touch. It's really not getting much bigger than that. It is staying pretty consistent, and this is showing that yes, we're having activity. We're probably getting some decent auroras up towards the poles. Maybe, you know, if it hangs around long enough, we may even start getting them down towards here. Okay, it just depends. We just don't know exactly the strength of it yet, so we'll just kind of monitor it. Okay, guys, I got you over here. It's showing you the magnetopause and our magnetic field and all that. Remember, on this graph, the sun's off to the left over here, okay? And all the energy's moving from left to right. And those of you who've been watching for a while probably know this, but we don't typically see these real dark burgundies a whole lot in the velocity, okay? So we know that that's definitely an increase in speed. And it seems to be hanging right around 600. So that's you know, that's respectable, guys. I mean, it could definitely put us into the storm level if it keeps going like this. And then the density, obviously, we've been talking about density of the solar wind stream too, and it's just as important, if not more important, than the actual speed. So we have to keep that in mind also. But this is what we would expect with a typical coronal hole wind stream here. Okay, so this isn't nothing that we weren't expecting to see with an increase in solar wind. So I just wanted to show it to you because this is space weather and we need to look at it. But this is what I would expect to see when I came over here. Okay, now here's the one that shows you the pressure. Okay, you're going to notice that that's quite a bit of pressure. All right, you're going to see us take hits and waves of stuff, and that is very, very normal for what we're going through right here. But you can actually see here, this is kind of the reason the earthquake risks go up. Okay, because what happens is most of that energy, it comes in through the poles, and then it absorbs into the earth, and the earth acts like a capacitor, and a capacitor can only hold so much energy before it has to release it. And I think that that's probably part of the reason why the earthquake risks go up. Okay, so sometimes we'll see signatures on the magnetopause. These graphs that I show you guys, it looks like it comes from the earth and pushes out, like it didn't come from anywhere else. And I often wonder if that ain't us releasing some of that energy because we got too much of it, and it just had to go somewhere, and that's what it did. In other words, it almost looked like we were pushing out in all directions against the solar wind. That's what it really kind of looked like. I'm not trying to claim that that's what's going on, but it would make sense that if we've seen that on these graphs, that may be possibly what it is. But, I don't have any research or hard science on that to really claim that that's 100% true. So, okay guys, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to show you some observations that I've made and others have made, and let you make up your own mind on what you're seeing, okay? And obviously I wouldn't be showing you this if I didn't think it was something to show you. So, but I don't want to steer your guys' thoughts any direction. So you guys look at this and see what you think. I mean, I've shown a couple of these before, but me and Scott's talked about these multiple times because he's catching a lot of this stuff, and with his new software, he's really able to get rid of a lot of that background stuff and really show you what's there. So, see that's what we're looking at in this one. This was back in September, okay, of 2019. That's the one I seen. And then so I put I inverted the colors on that, and so I did. And you see that, right? Really a hard half circle looking line, right? In my opinion, it would be kind of crazy to see something like that take that shape without something actually being there. That's all. And then here's the 304. Same thing, guys. Same thing. So this right here is a capture Bruce Schwartz made. Okay, he's got a big, huge 14-inch telescope. This came from the ground. This is his data. This is his telescope. So look at that. Now I'm not going to show you the video he made because I want you guys to go over and check it out because he can explain what he's seen a lot better than I can. Just like I can explain to you what I see better than they could. Gosh, man, I don't know if I'll make it to this video. Anyway, but please go check that out because it's amazing footage. And this was back in October, and from what he said in his video, he checked. Obviously, he checked to see if it could possibly have been the moon or Mercury or Venus or something like that, and none of those things were in that position. So then this, obviously, this is, like I said, guys, Scott's been catching this stuff left and right. This is an amazing one here. It's crazy, right? But what I want to point out is that little connection line, okay? Because that's going to become common with what I'm showing you. That's the same capture, just with a different filter. Okay, this is Mr. MB3's capture. Now, this was back in 2012, guys. So why are we looking at it now? Well, because this is what it looked like in Mr. MB3's video back in 2012. Or a few years back. This capture is from 2012, but I'm not sure when he posted it. It's been a while back. So he's gotten better software just like Scott has, right? So they're revisiting some of their old captures, and that's where this stuff's coming from, okay? And so again, like I would say, look at that little connection point, right? That's just another pic of that one. Now this is from the 31st of July, just a few days ago. And this is why I made this video, because I was going to show you this already, but then I seen Mr. MBB3's video, and I was like, oh my gosh, it looks like the same thing. Not only does this look like the same thing, this is in the exact same position, but only years later. So what would that mean? That would mean that if this is some sort of an object or whatever, that it would be in some sort of an orbit, because it's in the same spot. So, and it's acting very similar to what they would, right? So that's the one I caught. Remember, little connection line, okay? And we're going to go into that just a little bit deeper here. Okay, so what I did was I took a video of it, right? And what you're going to see, and me and Scott's been talking about this and for a very long time, about how this object is reacting with the sun. Well, what you're going to see here is you're going to see a reaction with the sun, but it starts at the object. Okay? So that is, I don't know that we've caught it like this yet until just now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this, and what we're going to look at, what I want you to look at, it's going to come from right here. It's going to kind of go like that, and then it's going to just bam right to the surface of the sun. So watch. There it starts, and then boom, boom. See that? That started at the object. There, and then bam, there hits the surface, right? Just like that. Now, again, I'm just making the observation. I'm telling you what I think it is. You make up your own mind, guys. So, what I'm saying is that discharge started from that object. At least it looks to do so there. Okay, so what I done with this one, I just zoomed in a little bit further so you guys can see it a little bit better. And again, it's going to go to one of these numbers. Okay, that's what it's going to look like. It doesn't just make a straight shot; it actually goes out, kind of like lightning. That's what it kind of looks like. But again, it would be plasma most likely. Okay. So check it out. There, boom. Okay. It kind of starts on this side and goes like this. That's what it does. Right about there. Boom, to the surface. See it hit the surface over here? I mean, man. For me, that's the first time that I've actually seen it start. And go from the object and go there and then to the sun. So, you know, I don't know what to think about all this, guys. All I can say is I'm showing you the observation. Please make up your own mind on it. So just to recap before my voice goes completely gone here, this is the one from Mr. MBB3, okay? There's the one I caught just the other day. You can actually see the discharge here. You see that? It's starting right there and it's going to go that way. Anyway, that's mine. That's Mr. MBB3's. Okay, so I put it in just a couple of captures here together. Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think? It's in the same spot on the sun too, guys, just so you know, like I said before. And then this is all 6 of them put together. Okay. This is Bruce's. This one here is Mr. BB3's. That one's mine. That one's mine. These 2 are Scott's down here. Okay. Just so you know. But, I mean, are they not, at the very least, extremely similar? I mean... So, again, I just wanted to show you the observation, guys. You guys make up your own mind what you think about that. Obviously, I wouldn't be showing it to you if I didn't think it was something. But, again, there they are. So, and my voice is about gone, guys, so I'm going to have to cut this off. I will give you guys, I'll try to give you guys another video in the next couple days. It'll probably be a live stream. So, anyway, guys, God bless. Yeshua saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.